Yo, Biden, why you saying you know corn pop? You don't know corn pop. You don't know shit. Welcome to Morning Reflections. I am your host, the Fat Mantis. And to be honest, I'm going to stop beating up on Biden. I think, for 1 week, we've had enough of making fun of him. Whether you believe he is senile or just a corporate plant to try to take over the Democratic candidacy, it's been enough of him. We've had fun with him. We'll get him next debate or next time he says something foolish. But I do find it amusing. If you don't know the corn pop thing, go look that up. He says an amusing anecdote about the one black guy he knows, as apparently his name is Corn Pop and he's a gangsta. So that's pretty funny. But I want to talk about something that affects our lives even more so than the Democratic candidacy or any of that other stuff. And it is space. That's right, outer space, my friends. It affects our lives every day. More and more, America or the world is going to outer space, whether it is through satellites, the future burgeoning things of hotels, and like Disney themselves want to create, space attractions going up there. But space, it's a very important thing to our lives, whether you want to believe it or not. Your life here is grounded, but so much of your life, for instance, all telecommunications, all comes from outer space. It's an important place to protect, as Space Force will eventually do, but it also yields something else. Space yields mystery. It is where our wildest dreams and imaginations, it's where Gene Roddenberry interpreted that the future of mankind would find itself and become the true definition of humanity, where they will love each other and live in a communist utopia. Meanwhile, in stories like Star Wars, it is a fantastical place to live out Arthurian legends. But right now, the important news story I wish to cover is that the Navy, that's correct, the Navy acknowledged UFOs are real and that they've been studying them for 60 plus years. That's right, they've been chasing them. So for those of you who don't know, Tom DeLonge, who I believe was a member of the pop punk 90s band Blink-182, after they stopped making music, or maybe they do, I don't know what they do, but bands or people will always keep making music whether it's garbage or not, but I'm just saying, I'm sure he's not popular. But anyway, he took his fortune and he created a UFO investigation thing. And from the pressure they've created from surefire videos they've attained, they finally got the U.S. Navy to admit, and the Pentagon as well, to admit yesterday that UFOs are real. We don't know what they are. They have a technologically so advanced that we can't possibly emulate it, and that these things are definitively not foreign ships. They are not a Russian or a Chinese vessel, but there are other things, and they routinely violate our airspace. And the thing that I'm wondering is, what do you believe they are? Are they filled with aliens? Are they human time travelers, historians just taking a look at us? Are they ultra-dimensional beings from another world? They're just trying to safeguard us and the universe. Are they mutant facehuggers that want to impregnate us and create a race of xenomorphal cannibalistic freaks? Or are they filled with green warrior women who simply want to procreate with us lucky dudes here on Earth? I don't know, but I will tell you, for all of you who don't know, I actually once pursued, or at least investigated a chance to pursue ufology, which is the study of UFOs. I was actually wanted to do that with my life. I was looking for a master's program that has that. Unfortunately, I don't think there are any real accredited, really respected schools. They're all like the College of Psychic Learning or the Metaphysical blah, blah, blah. And, they're filled with crackpots. They're basically Ghostbusters. Have you ever seen Ghostbusters? With the guys with the gyroids on their heads and doing weird experiments. And when you talk to them, they can't, it's like the guy from Ancient Aliens with his hair shooting up. And that's basically what those schools are filled with. And unfortunately, no matter how legitimate you feel that you are, no one in the science community will ever take you seriously. But going on to that, I think we need to look upon, space as its future. Now, I had always had this feeling since even before 2016, but as it looked like Trump was going to get it, and he did get it, I had a feeling that he was going to be the one to reveal space aliens to us. And I think it mostly has to do with his ego. that so many people have kept secrets from us about this, that I think that he's going to want to be the guy to be like, get the credit for being like, I revealed the truth. I opened up Project Blue Book. I let you see what it is. Even if, let's say the conspiracy theorists who say that we are under control by aliens, I bet he will spill those beans. Just because he's not going to let anyone else do it. He's gonna get the credit completely across. So I don't know. What do you think about aliens? Write in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Moving on. I'm avoiding Biden, but I'm not completely avoiding politics. And I want to talk about what's going on at the New York Times, and more fake news alerts. Now, unfortunately, this is actually breaks my heart, because journalism is a true art form. It is absolutely beautiful when done correctly. But in the modern age, it is used for propaganda and to spread ignorance and lies. And an example of this is just recently, all over the weekend, everyone was talking about how Brett Kavanaugh, Supreme Court Justice, that there was a new allegation against him that he whipped his package out in front of some girl back in his college days. So this might be a third accuser. And everyone's talking about it, and they're like, is he a serial predator? Is he some sort of complete sicko? And what it turns out is, this is all from a New York Times article, and it turns out that they omitted certain information that they knew about. And they claim it was an editorial mistake. They forgot to talk about the thing that exonerates him, is that when what it is, a classmate had claimed to have seen that. And then when the FBI investigated and they sat the girl down and they asked her, back in college, do you remember Brett Kavanaugh exposing himself? She says, I have no recollection of that. I don't remember that ever happening. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm a guy, but I'll promise you this. If anyone had ever whipped their package out in front of me in college, I have a strange feeling, that that's something I would remember. You know what I mean? If somebody was just like, hey, you remember Brett? I'll be like, yeah, he was a weird guy. One time we were at a frat party and he whipped his out. I promise you, there is no way, hopefully I would forget the image, but I remember the event. So the fact that the New York Times ran the article, wanted to besmirch this man's name for political purposes, and didn't bother to actually put the thing that exonerated him, is just disgusting. It sickens me to my inner core. So finally, I want to talk about the future elections and how Trump is going to win this election. And so here is my theory. If you have not noticed that apparently Iran, for some unknown reason, just randomly, fired missiles at Saudi oil fields. Simply, just like they supposedly shot missiles at British oil tankers a couple months back. And they seem to be being overly aggressively hostile for no apparent reason. And so what is really going on, what the mainstream media doesn't want to let you know, is that this is the Trump administration's attempt to go to war with Iran. And they are framing them. They are doing what we call a false flag operation. They are doing certain tactics. They've taken missiles that were invented or created in Iran, and they're using them against these things. There's no witnesses to the true events or why they would even attack, so that he has an excuse to go to war. And the question is, why war? I mean, why would somebody purposely go to war? The fact is, statistically, presidents who, during the time they are at war, they are more likely to be elected. They're exponentially more likely to be elected, especially if that other side is the aggressor, if it's a popular war. If Iran keeps blowing things up, honestly, God forbid, they're going to have to do false flag operations similar to 9/11 where innocents are hurt, to truly get Americans on board. But if we, in the next 6 months, 8 months, hate Iran and love the war we're going to, Trump will absolutely have re-election. It is known fact. Another thing is to get a hostile player off the board, somebody who doesn't agree with American politics, someone who has been testing nuclear weapons, and they certainly want these guys off the board so that they can't demand things in the global stage. And I want you to keep an eye on this, because I've actually been ranting and raving about how we've been framing Iran for months now. I was literally doing it at church on Sunday with some of my compatriots before this supposed attack on the Saudi oil fields even happened. And sure enough, I wake up the next day and what do you know? So there you have it, folks. that is today's morning reflections. I hope you are highly caffeinated. I hope you are enjoying this beautiful day. We still got some sun. I think we're gonna have an Indian summer next week, so just enjoy these days before the fall hits, because I understand the winter's gonna be devastating. It's gonna be Game of Thrones out there. But another thing is I want you to tune in, especially tomorrow, because I'm gonna start my weekly reviews of American Horror Story 1984. Each episode, I will review it in-depth knowledge from the Fat Mantis himself. Other than that, like, share, subscribe. I love you all. Ciao for now.